Well, hello there, what's up? Carmando here. Welcome to my review of Hell in a Cell. And I'm going to try and make this a lot quicker than I usually do. I'm not going to try and go in depth with that because I want to save myself some time. But I thought this was an alright peer review. It was not bad. It was not bad. It was not the worst peer review out there. It's not like there was a lot of boring matches or that. Let's just get straight to it. The pre-show match with a six-man tag. Cedric, Cedric Alexander, Lince Dorado, Sin Cara defeated Nice, Gulak, and Davari, as I thought they would. But I thought it was just going to be the same thing where the heels don't get to do much apart from Nice. But that didn't happen. Everybody actually got in their moves. Drew Gulak was getting to do some cool submission stuff. Davari got in his moves. Everybody got in their moves at the end. Eventually, came down to Cedric getting the win on Gulak with the old nasty bloody lumbar check, and it looked like he really messed up Gulak because he was like bending his spine and everything even when he was getting pinned. I think it must have hurt like hell. That's a nasty move. Backbreakers and stuff are nasty, but that one especially just every time it happens, it just it looks nasty. But I thought it was a pretty decent match actually. Like when it started and they started doing their stuff, I thought it was going to go the same way as it normally would. But no, I thought it ended up being good. A lot of action. It was good. I enjoyed it. And I said 9 minutes 45 seconds. I don't know if I said that. Um, the only other thing to mention about the pre-show was the New Day. Just when you think you're getting a bit sick of the New Day, they come in and do the social media lounge, and you love them again. I thought it was hilarious, awesome, just totally destroying Tom Phillips. It was awesome, and also I was surprised, but Morrow and Graves did the commentary for the pre-show match. Like when they said we're going to pass it over to Morrow, I was like, what the hell, Morrow? And then Morrow, being his usual self, mentioning words that nobody's heard of, and I'm having to Google all these words that he's coming out with. You gotta love Morrow. But on to the next match, which is the first match on the main show, which they announced during the pre-show. Roman Reigns defeated Rusev for the US title, 24 minutes 35. It was a fucking ridiculously long match, but it didn't need to be a cell match. It was pretty lackluster, really, for a cell match, in my opinion. It just didn't need to be a cell match. It was simple as that. Started off kind of slow, but I was kind of into it, and then after a while I was like, ugh. It just sort of dragged on, really. They were still doing stuff. They're still doing all right moves and what have you. Like they got the candlesticks and the steel steps, or aluminium steps. That's what they actually are. Um, but it wasn't didn't need to be a cell match. At one point, Rusev had a chain, which I thought was kind of cool, and he's put it in his mouth and was licking it, gross. And then at one point, he had the chain on Reigns while doing the accolade, which looked really nasty. Eventually, Reigns got out of it, which when he got out of it was actually kind of surprising. He got him up, and I thought he was going for like a blue. Is it the blue? What's that move called? The electric chair drop or something? I thought he was going for that, but then he turned it into a bloody Samoan drop onto the steps, and then he like did a leap off of the steps, not a spear in one. It was a long match, and it didn't need to be in the cell. As simple as that. It was okay, but didn't need to be a cell match. Uh, After that, nothing really to say. On to the next match, Bayley versus Dana. 6 minutes 30. It was kind of a boring match. It wasn't the best, but I mean, it wasn't the worst, but it wasn't a great match either. It was just kind of Dana working over the arm, really. In that sense, it was all right. It's not like she just wrestled, wrestled, wrestled. She was doing some stuff, but it didn't really make for a good match, in my opinion. Eventually, it just came down to Bayley making her comeback. Dana blocking the Bayley to belly, but then she just hits the Bayley to belly immediately after the first attempt, and then won. Nothing really more to say about it. It just wasn't a great match, really. All right, action, but it just never got anything good, in my opinion. After that, there was a thing with Mick Foley and Stephanie talking to each other, about Survivor Series. Chris Jericho comes in and saying that he and Owens should be the co-captains for Team Raw, and talking about Seth and adding people to the list and all this stuff. Chris Jericho is awesome. Just loving what he's doing right now, the whole list thing. Same on the Talking Raw or Raw Talk, whatever the fuck they're called it, which lasted 43 fucking minutes. They were killing it. Even though it was that long, they absolutely killed it. Jericho and Owens were just absolutely killing it on that show. They were fucking hilarious. Especially Jericho. Just, you gotta love him. You gotta love him. Then we got on to Enzo and Cass versus Gallows and Anderson. Surprisingly, Gallows and Anderson won 6 minutes 45. It looked like Enzo and that was gonna win because they were. It was pretty much. It was looking like a squash kind of match, to be honest. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. But eventually, Gallows and that came back and beat up bloody. I think they had Enzo with the magic killer and won. But yeah, just a basic tag match. Nothing else to say about it really. Enzo at one point had the DDG, as they called it, the DDT off the second rope. And also beforehand they cut this promo and I was like, holy fuck, did you just bury Carl Anderson or what? They just said he was he actually called him the most generic person ever or something. That's what they came out with. I was like, are you fucking serious? You're gonna just straight up bury him like that? I was like, why don't you just get a fucking shovel and fucking legitimately bury the guy? I was like, holy fuck. And they were saying all this other stuff. I didn't really get most of the fucking references. The crowd was going nuts for it, but I don't really get half the stuff they're going on about, to be honest. I couldn't believe the burial of him saying all that generic stuff. This guy's a great wrestler, Sim Gallows and that. Always hearing about them in Japan and that, but I never actually get to see it on WWE. But at least they won. I was happy for that. When they won, I was like, yes, thank fuck. Because I really did think Cass was going to win. Then after this, which was surprising to me, I was like, oh my god. They said it was Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens coming up. So I was like, they're really going to put Charlotte and Sasha as the main event. Because it came out earlier in the day that Sasha and that was going to main event, but I wasn't sure if it was actually going to happen. But I was like, oh my god, that's a pretty big deal. But yeah, we go into the Seth Rollins Kevin Owens match, which Kevin Owens won. It says 23 minutes 15 here. Yes, it was a pretty long match. Now the best part of this match was Owens getting power bombed through two tables. There was one table set up like this from the ring to the cell, and there was one on the ground. And Seth Rollins power bombed him through it. That was by far the best part of the match. The rest was alright. And also Jericho came in due to a fire. I thought it was an accident at first. Kevin Owens fired the fire extinguisher in the ref's face. And I think there was maybe supposed to be more happen with the fire extinguisher, but it broke because I think Kevin Owens got pissed and started swearing. Because it seemed like the audio got blocked or whatever, or censored, whatever it's called. But yeah, I thought that was good the way they did that. And then Jericho came running in because another ref opened the door and got the ref out. He came in and locked up the door and was in and helping Owens beat up Rollins. But Rollins, was coming back and he was beating him up and hitting him with chairs and what have you. But eventually Owens got a DDT on a chair, which Rollins sold so fucking well. He said it. He was like a plank. He sold it like that, It was pretty sweet. Eventually, Owens and Jericho come back and beat him up. They set up two chairs in the middle of the ring. Then Owens powerbombs Rollins through the two chairs and wins it. Owens was pretty savage with his chair shots. I will say that he was pretty savage with his chair shots on Rollins when he was hitting him. I was like, bloody hell, that's looking a bit rough. But yeah, Kevin Owens won in a pretty good match. But like I said, by far the table spot was the best part of this match. But I still didn't think it was the best match of the show. People were saying that was better than the Sasha Charlotte, but I disagree there. The only best part of that whole match was the table. After this, Owens and that are leaving, but then Jericho gets back in and hits a code breaker and talks some trash to Rollins, and then Jericho and that leave. After this, we go into the cruiserweight match between Kendrick and Perkins, which Kendrick won by submission, 10 minutes 35. I was quite surprised to see Kendrick win, and they did like an interview on the pre-show or something with where he's told him again that he wants him to lie down for the win. But this was like the action is good in the match, but it never really clicked or something. I don't know. It's not like there was rest holds or it was lacking action. There was action throughout it, but it just didn't seem like the people cared, and it just never really seemed to get rolling. Really, it's what they're calling the detonation kick, which is kind of like the GTS, but instead of the knee, he kicks them, and the wrecking ball drop kick, and they hit all their stuff, but it just never clicked, Eventually, he goes for like the sliced bread number 2, but then he comes down and does the whole hurtage of the kneeage. Perkins come over and checks him and picks Kendrick up. He drops him with a headbutt, then hits on the captain's hook, and Perkins couldn't get to the ropes, so he tappity-tappity-tapped. Kendrick wins. I thought that was kind of a cool way to do it, and the crowd actually popped, and that was about the only time they were into this match is when Kendrick won. But yeah, I thought it was an alright way to go about it, instead of just Perkins just lying down. But yeah, it was okay. Kendrick won. After this, there's a thing about Sheamus and Cesaro being on the same page, but they're still getting a little bit angry at each other, which leads to Cesaro and Sheamus defeating the New Day by disqualification. 11 minutes 15 for the old tag titles. They didn't win them, obviously, but again, it was pretty much a basic kind of tag match. Nothing amazing, not a memorable tag match. They all got in their moves. They all got on their Big E and his belly to bellies and all that stuff. It was Xavier Woods it was in, Xavier and Big E, which was a nice surprise. I didn't think that was going to happen. Woods got in his big old springboard elbow drop, which is always nice to see, and he did it like bloody 3/4 to almost fully across the ring, which was pretty epic. And at one point, Sheamus jumped out onto all 3 members of the New Day from the top rope, which was pretty surprising to see old Sheamus going for a little fly. Cesaro, gets on his Cesaro swing, and goes for the sharpshooter on Woods. And I think at this point is when Sheamus started stopping Big E from getting in, sent him to the barrier, or Big E sent Sheamus to the barrier. Then at this point, Sheamus hits Big E with the Francesca 2, and then Kofi comes over and drops Sheamus with a Trouble in Paradise. And the ref sees this and then rings the bell, but at the same time, Woods starts tapping out, but he didn't see Woods tapping out, so they won by DQ. So I was like, oh, that's actually quite a good way to go about it. It's creative. I'll give them a due. It's pretty creative. They're pushing this thing out until they beat the old bloody demolition rain or what have you. But like I said, I'll give them due. It was a pretty decent way to go about it. But yeah, it was okay. It was alright. I didn't think it was a bad match. Just nothing memorable, that's all. But it was okay. I liked it. I think after the match, Sheamus and Cesaro were just sort of arguing with each other. They hype a Goldberg appearance for Raw tomorrow, or tonight, or whenever. And then we go on to the Charlotte versus Sasha Banks match. It says 90 minutes 50, but I think that's from when the bell actually rang, because it felt way longer than that. Because when it started, the cell was up because they were making their entrances, because Charlotte made this big old grandiose entrance with 4 dudes like lifting her on some chair thing, similar to Triple H, I think WrestleMania 22. And Sasha came in in a Jeep thing, or an Escalade or Cadillac thing, or whatever it said here. And they're doing the ring introductions, and then as the thing's coming down, Charlotte starts beating her up, and they start fighting out in the crowd and stuff, which I thought was really cool. I really thought that was cool. And they were like smashing each other into the chairs where people were sitting as well, which I was quite surprised at. And I think at one point Sasha threw food at Charlotte. And eventually they come back, and then Sasha's taking apart one of the announce tables, and they start climbing up the cell. But Charlotte, I think, they both were up on it, and Sasha slammed Charlotte's face into the thing, and she goes back down to the floor. But Charlotte gets up and grabs Sasha and then power bombed her through the announce table. I was like, holy shit. Well, I think I actually said, "Oh my god," but the crowd was chanting "Holy shit!" I thought that was a surprising moment. I didn't see that coming at all. And then for like I would say at least 5 minutes, they were trying to sort of get Sasha out and do the whole stretcher job thing, and I was like, this is not real. Obviously, this is part of the match, and they were going to like announce Charlotte as the thing, and also when they were bloody tying up the paramedics, they got the fucking one of the camera cables. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? The camera cable was in the fucking neck brace as they were pulling her away. I was like, are you fucking serious? What the fuck are you playing at? But anyways, dumb ferrets. They eventually are away to do the JoJo's making the announcement saying, "Oh, Charlotte's the new champion," and then Sasha's like going nuts and like beating the shit out of this paramedic guy, and gets in, and then the match gets started. And I thought it was a great match. I did. My only issue was the ending was kind of, I guess, anticlimactic. Would that be the word? Apart from that, though, it was a really good match. There's too much to go into. This would be the one match that I would like to go into, but there was so much. It was such a great match. They were really just beating the hell out of each other. I thought it was good. Some might say perfect, as Booker T would say. At one point, Sasha did the Three Amigos and the Frog Splash. And another cool moment, which I think Cole called like a Spider-Man jump or something, where she like jumped onto the cell, and like Charlotte like ducked or something, and then she like turned around and jumped back onto her with the double knees thing. I thought that was really cool. That was a really cool moment. And another moment was when, which I think fucked up because I don't think they were expecting the table to break, but they had a table set up outside, and Charlotte was going to go for like a superplex, but she, obviously that didn't happen. They would have bloody got annihilated if they did that. But like Sasha countered it, and it seemed to me like she was going to go and do like the double knees or something, but like the table broke. I thought she could have like went for an elbow drop or something, because it was only like one part of the table that broke. It wasn't like the full thing. But she didn't. She just got her back in, and then I think they got another table in. But she like sent the table like right back into Sasha, like in her throat against the cell, which looked pretty nasty. But yeah, I thought that was a really good match. Like I said, there were so many moments that I could mention. I'm just looking through the thing here to try and remember some of the things. There's another part where she did like her double knees in the corner, but she put a chair underneath. That's pretty nasty. What else was there? That's the part with the other table. Yeah, well, they set up the table, and then Charlotte, comes back and gets the figure 4 on, and Sasha's sort of like trying to crawl under this table, but then she gets in the figure 8, and then Sasha grabs a steel chair and starts like beating up bloody Sasha, and starts beating up Charlotte. Of course, she didn't start beating herself up. She starts beating up Charlotte with some nasty chair shots, and she had the chair like the wrong way round, where there's like the sticking edge bit out. She had that bit, and she was hitting her with it, which was pretty nasty. And some of the shots looked really nasty. And like after the match, you could see Charlotte had some like bruises and that all over her arms and shit. It was nasty. And at this point, they started nailing each other with their forearms back and forth, and then eventually they both hit them at the same time. Sasha, is going for the back statement. But through the whole match, she nailed Sasha's back. So the whole story was that Charlotte was able to get out of the bank statement easily. She got 3 backbreakers for a 2 count, but obviously 2 count doesn't do it. I'm not thinking right here. It's like bloody 6 in the morning. Eventually Charlotte puts Sasha on a table and starts chopping her, and then she looks like she's gonna go for the old moonsault, but Sasha cuts her off. Then she puts the table into the opposite corner. she goes back to Charlotte and it looks like she's going to go and powerbomb her. That would have been fucking awesome if she did that. But she collapses, you know, because of the whole back injury story. And I don't know, the ending, I don't think the ending, and this is my bloody screen being a ferret, I don't think the ending was supposed to go the way it was, because Charlotte sort of like, I don't know, grabbed her by the hair and threw her onto the table. I'm guessing they were expecting the table to break. She did that twice and it still didn't break, and then hit the natural selection and won. I was like, ugh, really? I was kind of hoping for a longer title reign for Sasha. I know I said back when Charlotte won at SummerSlam I was happy with it because it was such a good match. But you know, that happened already. You know, I would have preferred a longer Sasha title reign. But it seems like they want to continue this story instead of doing something with like a Bayley or Nia Jax or someone else. You know, it's been happening for a while now, and we've gotten quite a few matches out of it. Not that there's anything wrong with the matches, you know. Well, I didn't really like that one where Sasha won it. It wasn't a bad match, but people were acting like it was the greatest thing ever. The only good thing, in my opinion, was the springboard corkscrew moonsault thing. But I would like to see something different, you know. I'd like to see maybe Bayley getting involved or Nia Jax, you know. As I was maybe expecting was Nia Jax maybe come down and, you know, cause some havoc. But that didn't happen. So it looks like they may be just going to continue Charlotte and Sasha some more, which kind of sucks. I would just like to see something different. And like I said, it looked like even when Charlotte pinned Sasha for the win, it looked like she was supposed to kick out because Charlotte was still holding the pin as if she was waiting for the kick out, you know, because after she hit the three, it just seemed as though she was waiting for her to kick out and she didn't. So I don't know if that was supposed to happen or what. It was just kind of a disappointing ending, you know. I just think Sasha should have won, and it was just kind of, you know, it's just like, okay, I didn't think that was going to end like that, you know. Like I said, anticlimactic would probably be the better word to use. But then that was it. They showed some replays and Sasha recovering, and Hell in a Cell goes off the air with Charlotte holding her title high. But yeah, it was okay. But by far the Charlotte and Sasha match by far was the best match, and definitely the best Hell in a Cell match out of the lot. By far. The only thing that came close was the Kevin Owens getting powerbombed through that table. That was a nasty spot. As for the rest of the matches, I don't know. I've nothing really important or memorable happened in them. If I was to give a best match that wasn't a Hell in a Cell match, it would have been the pre-show match. Honestly, I thought it was a good match. The rest was just your basic same old stuff you see all the time. Maybe Kendrick and Perkins. I mean, well, no, I'd say the cruiserweight match was better. Well, the 6-man cruiserweight was better. Kendrick and that never became anything special, really. It was just sort of, I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it. Because it was action packed, but it just wasn't. It just didn't really gain any steam or whatever. I don't know. It didn't really work out. Yeah, there's my review. I didn't think I'd speak that long, so I thought I was getting through the stuff pretty quick, but guess I wasn't. I think I did speak quite a bit about the Charlotte match though, so there is that. But yeah, that's it. There was word that they were going to try and get some blood involved in the match, in the Sasha match, but that didn't happen. The only match that had some blood, I think, was Reigns Rusev, like where Rusev's arm got a bit messed up. And I don't think there's any other news to talk about. Cena is off Survivor Series now. That's about it. There's going to be an NXT tape and an upcoming SmackDown thing. Yeah, nothing else to say. Here's the thing. What happened after Hell in a Cell? Let's see what happened after Hell in a Cell. Charlotte walked straight to the back while Sasha recovered. Her music played for around 20 seconds as she was walking to the back. Okay. And then Goldust says something. Incredible journey you both have had. Congratulations. Well done, ladies. Alright. Okay, well, that's it for my review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Be sure to subscribe to that like button. Goldberg will be on Raw tomorrow. So there's that. My only good thing about... You know what I like most about Hell in a Cell? each year is it happens at the time when the clocks go back here. So right now it's 20 past 6, but it'll actually be 20 past 7. So there's actually a chance I might go and get some sleep before I go to work. That's the best thing I like about Hell in a Cell each year. Yeah, that's it. See you later.